How challenging is it as a coach to remind these guys and let them know that to get back to where you were last year, you've got to work just as hard?
I just think every year is different. Depends on the people, mindset, the maturity, all of that. And so it has not been hard at all. We've got great humility. Again, if you just ask me to kind of portray and, kind of name off some good intangibles that they have, and so you got to have that first and foremost. I think they got great respect for the game, and again, a willingness to work, and be coached, and coached hard, and so it's kind of check, which is love that, it's refreshing. And, been fortunate that way. It's been the case for the most part, for us.
That hunger angle, is that in a way easier for some of your younger defensive guys because they might not have been starting?
I think so. Yeah, when it's your turn to get a little bit more excited and feel like you got a lot to prove and those kinds of things. But at the same time, if they're the right kind of competitor, they're always fighting. And, their mindset is I've got to find a way to I got to start over. And it's like Ray Lewis came and spoke to the team a couple of years ago. That was kind of his message, man. 15 years in the league, 18 years in the league. He starts day one fall camp. I got my new notebook. I'm taking notes like I'm a rookie, and having again that sense of desperation. And I'm fighting every day for a job, fighting for an opportunity to be successful. Just like us as coaches, fighting to protect our culture, fighting to protect, negativity or complacency and all those types of things that can creep into a program that's had success. So, all of us coaches the same way, because that's how you have to start over, because whatever kind of success or failure you had a year ago really has nothing to do with what you're doing now. And everybody got to kind of start over with that clean slate and that, again, having the right mindset in regards to what it takes to prepare and have the kind of success that ultimately everybody does. And that's just having respect for the process and respect for the game and respect to how you play at a high level.
Does Boulware set the tone?
He does.
In that
he does.
regard?
He's the first one in front of the line saying, "Here's what I need to get better at." And I'm gonna stand out here and I'm gonna be the first one to go to work with it. And without that, you got a guy like feels like he's been there, done that, and has a ho-hum attitude and is complacent and all that. And that's very discouraging. And then you gotta make an example of him, because everybody's watching you. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna let him do that? Because that's what we're demanding of him all the time. And all of a sudden, the guy steps out and doesn't behave the right way or act the right way or lead the right way, respond the right way, be coached the right way, then you got to make an example of them. And it's easy to kind of look the other way when you have, proven veteran, so to speak, and sweep it under the rug. But we're not going to do that. And it doesn't matter. Ben's not that way.
Looking back to last season, sort of the second half of the season, what was the progression of that sort of ideal leadership, just as a...
I think it was good in a lot of places. I don't think in a couple spots it was great, but to act like all of a sudden they all were turned into we were a bunch of bombs. That's not the truth, and it's not fair. So I'm not going to get into individuals and those kind of things who were good enough to make it to the national championship, weren't good enough to win, as coaching or playing. So a lot to build from, a lot to learn from, and we worked hard in the small amount of time we've had in regards to self-scouting, what we can do as coaches to be better, and again, the players, taking ownership, what they need to do. So, we had a great year, but not quite good enough, not to what we wanted. So we missed a real golden opportunity. But that was then, and this is now.
What's your ideal plan with Carter?
We just talked to, he's at safety, and he plugged in well. Looks like he's played safety his whole life. Carter felt very good about the role he played last year. He did an excellent job for us. He could play either corner today, could play nickel. and fortunately he looked really natural. He played safety most of his high school career, and picked up right where left. He had great technique, good positioning, great ball skills, good transitional movement. He's always played bigger than his stature, so we'll see if he'll tackle anybody when we put pads on. That position will roughly make between 65 to 85 tackles in a particular season. If it's by committee, 40 to 50, but feel really good. His knowledge is excellent, and through 2 days, if he had a long ways to go, it would show. We expected him to, don't know, but we didn't have anybody else to put there, and he was the only candidate to look at there, here initially, and he's looked really good there.
Defensive ends, do you feel like you've got enough out of those guys?
Yeah. I mean, we got some good young talented guys. We'll be fine.
Do you find like you got to develop a pass rusher that might not be on the level?
Yeah, I think the inside guys that are returning, are experienced, are supposed to be our position of strength. We need to be better there. I think we had 4 sacks. We're just rushing 4, no twist, no movement. We had 4 sacks with those guys a year ago. We got to beat one-on-ones. And if they're better, then that's going to help those other guys transition. Our backers got to be better. 40% of the time on early downs, we're rushing 5, at least. So, we're getting one-on-one a lot. We got to be better across the board. Backers got to be better blitzers, beating guys one-on-one. Tackles got to be better, and the DNs got to do what they got to do. They got to make the plays they're supposed to make, and if we just do that, we'll be fine. I believe in the guys. We got good young long guys that can run, they can bend, they're intelligent, they work hard, they're coachable, and Javi will do a great job getting those guys ready, and those guys will respond. So we don't have the experience in returning there that's ideal, but that doesn't mean it's going to be an albatross either. So I think there's more teams out there than not that's working with less.
Fields, look at first team corners.
Yep. He's done well. He's done well. So expect him to be better. Just maturity alone. I think a year ago, if you asked him, that's humbling. You're a young, talented guy like that. You're expecting things to happen sooner than they did. He'll recognize and tell you more than anything. The success he didn't experience was really only because of him. But he's a good young guy that's got a good work ethic and is very skilled. And we expect big things from him.
Is Richard Yearman a guy who could start if you had to play tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. He's 260 pounds, so that's not small by anybody's standard. Richard's he's a high motor guy. He's got good quick twitch to him. It's really starting to learn the position. Again, when we first offered him, he was a high school safety, and offered him as a linebacker, and then he played linebacker for a year, and then his senior year he played mostly defensive tackle, played a 4 technique. Then he played defensive end, although he's had his hand in the dirt more often than not. It was really more of a 4-eye, and so he's had to kind of start over and build his body, build his mind, his skill set, and feel good about Richard, where how far he's come. And then again, there's another group of guys there, between Austin and Cleveland, and Richard and Chris Register, and again we'll bring some young guys along, when they get here.